Well, the Eagles, they finally worked out punters yesterday, and we have details on all 3 of them that were brought in for a chance to take over Aaron Sipos' job. Practice footage from yesterday's final practice before getting ready for game week against the New England Patriots. A possible trade for a kick returner that makes so much sense it probably won't happen. And finally, Blakenship, he absolutely loves Sidney Brown. Could he start week 1? I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show. What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome to the Thomas Mott Show on a Friday. Thumbs up for the weekend and thumbs up for practice footage. We've not had fresh practice footage from the NovaCare complex in a couple of days, and you see a couple of really interesting players on your screen, including brand new tight end Albert O, who Victor Williams said he makes Tyree Jackson look small. He's Tyree Jackson on crack, running a couple of routes here on your screen. You also see the return of Britton Covey, also the return of Devin Allen, and a couple of the Eagle wide receivers as well. Again, this is kind of your final week of the quote-unquote training camp season, although training camp is officially over. But Monday, they really shift the focus to the New England Patriots and continue that game prep that started this past Monday in order to go ahead and start week 1 with a win. Now, a couple of updates after, of course, all the cuts happened. Philadelphia has done a couple of jersey number changes, and they're all very, very good. Tanner McKee, he goes from number 10 to number 19. Albert O, he's going to wear number 85, pretty solid number for a tight end. And Keely Ringo, gone is that whole horrendous number 37, and in is a very, very, let's just say, cornerback-friendly number 22. All good number changes there for some of the Eagles, young players who are now on this roster with an attempt to maybe even get some playing time in the case of Keely Ringo, depending on how games go ahead and go forward and depending on how the cornerbacks play ahead of him. Now, the big story the entire week has been the punter situation in Philadelphia and why Aaron Sipos was let go. They don't bring in the punt god. Now, Sipos is on the practice squad. Well, much to our delight, they did bring in 3 punters yesterday to have open workouts and really open tryouts. We're going to go through each and every one of them, starting with Blake Gillikin. He is probably the most likely to actually land on this roster because he is the biggest veteran on this roster. He's a former Penn State punter. You might recognize him from punting at Penn State a couple of years ago. Averaged 47 yards on 160 punts for the Saints over the last 2 years with a 41.7 net, 38.1% inside the 20, and a 6.9% touchback rate. Gillikin was beat out this summer by 30-year-old undrafted Australian rookie Lou Hedley, and so not necessarily a great sign there, but hey, you got to scrape the bottom of the barrel right now if you want to go into the open free agent market and actually sign a punter, not make a trade for one. I mean, this would be a free agent signing for very, very cheap, who would then go in an open battle against Aaron Sipos to see who stays on the practice squad and who gets elevated to the active roster. Now, the next punter they brought in was Pat O'Donnell, the longtime Bears punter. He has a 45.5 career average, 39.2 net in 9 seasons, 36.4 percentage inside the 20. He was the holder for Cody Parkey during the double doink field goal miss back in the 2018 wildcard game. Also kicked for the Packers last year. He lost a training camp battle in Green Bay with Ireland's Daniel Wellen, who played this past spring for the DC Defenders of the XFL. Everyone's getting beat out by these overseas punters, and Pat O'Donnell was no different. Final punter they went ahead and bring in was Colby Wadman. He averaged 44.5 yards, 143 punts with the Broncos in 18 and 19. Hasn't kicked in the last 3 years. He was in camp with the Washington Commanders this summer, lost to Tress Way. Of course, he was dealing with a minor back injury. And so again, another punter, a little bit of a journeyman who did lose this past training camp to some other punter, most likely a foreign punter coming over from Australia or coming from Ireland, but nonetheless, they're a little bit of competition for Aaron Sipos, which is what you wanted, right? You wanted competition for Sipos. Do you have a choice on these 3? Which guys you would like? Let me know in the comment section. Now, as you get ready for Patriots Hate Week, obviously you think about Juju Smith-Schuster versus James Bradbury. That's a good reason to hate the New England Patriots, right? How about a brand new reason? Jalen Reagor. He signed with the New England Patriots. Yes, Jalen Reagor still can be employed in the National Football League despite doing nothing in Philadelphia, being a former first-round draft pick, doing nothing, literally nothing with the Minnesota Vikings the past couple of seasons, and now signs with the Patriots practice squad. Now, practice squad is the key there. Doesn't mean that he's actually going to go ahead and play against his former team in Philadelphia, but he will be there in spirit on the sideline, and if you wanted just a little bit of extra motivation to beat Bill Belichick, the evil Emperor Palpatine, and the rest of his Juju Smith-Schuster and Jalen Reagor gang, well, Jalen Reagor is now on that roster, and I think that's a very, very good motivation for us as Eagle fans, not necessarily Eagle players themselves, to go ahead, wake up, and get ready for a Week 1 game. Now, I've seen this rumor floating around over Twitter the past couple of days, and that is the idea of trading for kick return / running back / wide receiver specialist Cordarrelle Patterson. Now, I always preference when people talk about these things, there is no hard fact, there is no Adam Schefter tweet, there is no Ian Rappaport report saying the Philadelphia Eagles are going to trade for Flash Gordon, as they call him, or Cordarrelle Patterson likes to be called that. But there is a little bit of rumblings, or should I say, thoughts that with the Bijan Robinson being added to the Falcons trying to be younger, Patterson being more of a win-now type piece, Philadelphia needs a player, a trade like this could go ahead and make some sense. Obviously, Kendall Beck has a good tweet here as well. Exact player Howie Roseman should be looking for, solves the kick and punt returning issue, versatile weapon for Jalen Hurts, would be a cheap acquisition. And I would agree with all of that. I think that would make a ton of sense for Philadelphia. The question is, do the Falcons want to get rid of a versatile player for their young quarterback in Desmond Ridder in an offense that a lot of people think could be the best in at least the NFC South? Not saying much, but still, at least the best in the NFC South. I'm all for this trade. I just always want to preference to you guys. You see a lot of rumors out there saying Eagles are going to trade for this, Eagles are going to get that person. Oh, go get... There's been no actual real reporting on this. It's all speculation. It's another one of those, oh, we wish we could have these players, but will it actually happen sort of nonsense that goes around all over the community. I would love this. I would be all for this. I live in Atlanta. I've covered the Falcons past couple of seasons. Cordarrelle Patterson is fantastic and a really, really good player and teammate, but the odds of it actually happening for the Philadelphia Eagles are very, very slim and should be acknowledged and at least accepted as just that. There were a couple of Eagles at the podium yesterday, but I want to zero in on Reed Blakenship. He didn't speak a lot this offseason, didn't get any playing time during the actual preseason games, and rightfully so because he is your #1 safety going into 2023. However, he was asked about Sidney Brown, and while Philadelphia has not named that second starter alongside Blakenship, Blakenship raved about the rookie safety and said most of the time he doesn't even look like a rookie.
What's unique about sharing the field with Sidney Brown?
He's a hard worker, really hard worker. Very smart. It's sometimes hard to tell if he's a rookie or not, and that's a good thing. Like I said, he flies around the field, and obviously it's better to slow guys down than to speed them up. So he's doing great, and he's going to be a great player for us.
You gotta like that. I mean, that's what we keep hearing about Sidney Brown, is that he came in a little bit slow of a start, got his feet underneath him, and then really started speeding through, figuring out how to be a safety in the National Football League. And on an Eagle team that has some veterans, Justin Evans is a veteran. Obviously, you know, you have the case where you're sitting there with a couple of other veterans on the roster. You think about Terrell Edmonds, the name I was blinking on right there. Edmonds is another guy who's probably going to go ahead and get some playing time. But with K'Von Wallace being let go, it does feel like your actual snap one, day one, game one starter alongside Reed Blakenship could be Sidney Brown. I'd love your thoughts on that in the comments section, but I do think that Sidney Brown has earned the right to at least get some playing time. Like, if you start Blakenship and Edmonds, it'd be fun to get Sidney Brown mixed in there as well, especially if the Eagles are pulling away in the second half, just to give him, you know, a little bit of reps, some actual starter potential to build this guy and get this guy along as quickly as possible. Philadelphia needs to make sure that some of these rookies, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, not to be excused, get as much playing time this season when necessary as possible. That way they can be the next great defensive players on a roster that is trying to build through them, right? You're going to lose BG. You're going to go ahead and lose Fletcher Cox. The safety spot is very, very young. You can take these 3 young draft picks and build them up to be not only players that can have an impact this season, but starters in 2024. Philadelphia is going to be set for a very, very long time, especially with their contract situation, the multitude of draft picks next year, and the genius of Howie Roseman that continues to kind of shock the National Football League from the GM position. Now, it's going to be a very interesting next couple of days. I do think those starters are going to start to be revealed, maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Nick Sirianni will play it close to the vest, although we do have to have an official, game depth chart announced at some point next week. So make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe for the latest updates on that. Hit the like button, and also get ready for the final Wednesday link live before the season starts. We do it during the season as well, but it's going to be fun to go ahead and jump on for a Wednesday live show, myself and Josh Davis, maybe a special guest as well. And then, of course, we have to go ahead and get you ready for week 1 against the New England Patriots, where Josh and I will be live on both of our channels for the entire game, live streaming it, play-by-play, taking the interactions with you guys, answering a bunch of questions, watching the game with you as well, and of course giving away that signed DeAndre Swift mini helmet, so be sure to go ahead and stay tuned for that. I'm Thomas Mott, ready for the weekend. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.